I have moved from concern and worry about Hellblade 2 to genuine fear that both the game and the developer are in trouble. In the wake of 4 studios closing underneath Xbox, everyone is turning their attention to the first Xbox first-party game to launch in 2024. Hellblade 2 is unlikely to top sales charts, not just because it's on Game Pass, and Xbox doesn't seem to understand the relationship between Game Pass and game sales, because they set sales expectations for Hi-Fi Rush, which is brilliant, but I also don't think the game is being marketed all that much, and it doesn't really have what I would consider to be broad market appeal. Like, I love the first game. I'm really looking forward to the second game. I hope they nail it, but I don't see this game topping sales charts. It just doesn't come across as that type of game. Smaller game, smaller studio, right? In my latest video, I walk through why I think both the game and the studio are in trouble, so be sure to check that out. It's an upload on the channel. This is a live stream discussion about it, so this follows my upload. So make sure you hit subscribe and the bell button so you don't miss those uploads, you don't miss these live stream discussions. In the video, I walk through Hellblade 1, why I love it so much. Then I looked at the trajectory of Hellblade 2 marketing, and I explain why it's concerning, so be sure to check that out. I go through each trailer and how they've all progressed. Then I look at the public concern, the worry about studio closures. More Xbox closures are apparently on the way. And if you're a smaller studio like Ninja Theory, you're probably shaking a little bit right now, okay? So check out the video so that way you can know what I think. Now it's time to hear what you think. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the live audience. Thank you guys so much for being here. Go through your morning ritual, smash that like button. There's already a bunch of you here. Let's get the first 100 likes. And Joker Quinn, Han shot first, and so did you. Starting the day off strong already with the first gifted member. If there were any gifted members during the premiere, let me know. I didn't see, but I was sort of in the office making sure everything was ready for the live show. You guys are currently sitting at 233 new members for the week. The goal was 300. The stretch goal, if you want me to play Elden Ring Friday night and fight a boss I really don't want to fight, the stretch goal is well within reach. You guys could probably hit 300 today and then just focus on the stretch goal tomorrow, which I'm actually hoping you don't hit it. I would much rather play the VR Just Dance style game. And Mike on the mic hits 26 months on a VIP, says, yo, good morning, Lono and chat. Welcome back. Will you be able to get coffee orders out before going out of town? Yes, we will. We will not take orders. No, we'll be able to take orders today and tomorrow because we're not leaving until Sunday. So, Saturday we would be able to run them out if we need to. Yeah, that's not a problem. We'll have the whole day. So yeah, you guys are fine. If you need to order coffee, order your coffee, which let me pull it into the frame. If you guys want great ways to support the channel directly, if you're a coffee drinker and you're buying coffee on the regular, our coffee is very reasonably priced, but it's also very good. Everybody talks about how good it is. If you've never tried coffee before with balanced acidity, go to reforgeroast.com and order some coffee. It's a small business, basically. This is not a sponsor. My wife and kiddos bag it up and ship it to you. So, and Paco with 25 months, more than 2 years in a VIP. Thank you so much, Paco. But Final Pineapple comes in and says, let's hit that goal, boys, and gifts 5 members to the community and takes us to 6 out of 25. So we appreciate you guys supporting so much the channel in all of the various ways. If you're like, man, I can't buy coffee, I can't do a membership, just be here and smash like and listen and lurk and chat. That helps out immensely. Oh, going out of town? Yo, Derek, yeah, I don't typically say where we're going. It's just a family trip. We're going to be going and hanging out with Madam's family. So it should be a fun time. We tried to pick a week. I tried to pick a week where there wouldn't be much going on. Everything's going to probably start picking up the week that Hellblade launches would be my guess. So if you're looking for all that coverage of the showcases and everything, pray with me, cross your fingers with me, light a candle for me, whatever it is you do. Let's put that energy out there that we do not get any PlayStation anything next week, because I want everybody to stay quiet. That's what I'm hoping. Donnie is here and gifts a member. Thank you so much, Donnie. So I'm curious what you guys thought of the video, because in the video, I basically walked through, as I was sort of preparing for this show, I went and I said, okay, let me look at the trailers. And I went back to the original, very first Hellblade 2 trailer. And then I looked at the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And do you guys agree with my take that there is a measurable trajectory of they're just showing us way less? They're shrinking everything down. I don't know what happened. And I think this is probably related to engine level decisions that they made. I think the very first trailer and the first two trailers, I think, were in Unreal 4. That would be my guess. Yo, Cat Uncle gifts a 5. We got a 5 gifted member train going right now. That's a really fast way to hit the goals. Thank you so much. Halfway to that first 25. Every 25, I give 5 back to the community. Thank you so much, Cat Uncle. The production value of your videos and content in general is so good. Oh, thank you very much. Feed, I see you in the chat. What's up, Feed? We are really excited to be doing daily uploads now. I put a lot of work into those monologues, and now Creature's coming behind and adding the great production and the editing and stuff. I'm very, very pleased with how those videos are coming along. Could it be that they're trying not to spoil the game? Now, I've seen that theory thrown out there, okay? I have seen the theory thrown out, they don't want to spoil the game. Okay, hang with me on this, all right? You, whenever you're promoting a narrative-focused game, you do not have to show me major story beats. That's not necessary. I just want to see raw, uncut gameplay. I want to see her walk from one location to another, walk into a room, get into a fight, and do the whole fight, right? Like, I feel like at this point in time, with most games, we have seen a ton of gameplay. Like, Spider-Man 2 had a very lengthy showing, and then Starfield. We saw tons of Starfield uncut and just going from thing to thing to thing. Now, I know you're going to say, well, Spider-Man 2 and Starfield are much bigger games. Okay, I'm not saying you need a 45-minute direct on Hellblade, but show us something. Like, how do you not have... I saw somebody theorize that they've already shown us like 30 minutes worth of footage. I'm like, no, they haven't. They showed us a cinematic trailer to show off the engine where she's like singing and snarling. Harbinger with a gifted member. Thank you so much. They showed us that. The beach trailer is the longest trailer. It's 6 minutes. Then there's the Senua trailer where she's in the room. That, again, is just a scene. That's not actually like, oh, that's what the game's going to look and run like. It's just a scene. And I like it, but, again, it doesn't feel like they wanted to show us much. Ever since that point in time, we're getting less and less and less. And the gameplay is so sliced up. Sarah U21 with a membership. I love to see that. That moves the daily goal, by the way. You guys don't have to wait for a gifted. Click join. $5 a month gets you into all kinds of extra content, behind-the-scenes content. You see how the shows are made and how they're drawn up. And on Friday nights, you can come hang out with my wife and I. We play some games and laugh with y'all. So if you can click that join button and support directly, consider doing that. The gifted members are so generous, but we love to see people jump in on their own. The game is so short they can't do it or release a demo because it'll be half the game. Imagine 4-hour cutscene, 3 hours of gameplay. I hope it's not like that. If it's anything like the first game, it'll be around 10 hours to complete, and it'll be a good blend of both. It's not meant to be some... it's not meant to be like a 25-hour action game. It's supposed to be more of a combination of like a cinematic experience. Like, I'm okay. I think people are... This is part of the problem. A bunch of people that didn't play the first game are talking about the second game like they know something. It's like, you don't. Just be quiet. You don't know this game. You don't know nothing about... Hellblade 1. I've had people talk to me about Hellblade 1. I'm like, I can tell by the way they talk about Hellblade that they never played the first game, okay? The intersection of cinematics, the intersection of gameplay, it is actually done, I think, rather well, and I'm okay if the second game is like that. It's not meant to be that. 5 to complete, not 10? No, you're incorrect. Like I said, everybody always talks about Hellblade, and they don't know that they've not played it or they don't know what they're talking about. It's roughly 8 hours to beat Hellblade. Now, that's just if you're just going right through. If you just go right through, it's like 7.5 to 8 hours. That means you're not looking around, you're not exploring, that means you're not trying to find all the things, that means you're not backtracking at all. You're just going right through the game, zero problem, right? The average person plays a game, they take breaks, they get confused, they're like, wait, do I need to go back? They'll look for things. Maybe they get a little bit stuck on a puzzle. So 10 hours, I think, is fair. It's like the average person's not going to beat a game right at that 8-hour mark. If you go completionist, they're saying on this website here that it's 9 hours to go completionist. So no, anybody telling you it takes 5 hours to beat the first game, they're just pushing an agenda, or they've played it a couple of times. And sure, when you go back and play it again, you can stream through it. I mean, you're gonna solve every puzzle on your first try because you know exactly where to go. Whenever I've replayed Hellblade 1, you go into the puzzles and they're not even puzzles anymore. You just know where to go and stand. You know, okay, I loop through this door, I loop through that door, I take a left here, and then I'm through. Like that, of course. Of course you're going to go through it much, much faster. You probably could beat Hellblade 1 in 5 hours if you've played it before. Here are all of the Hellblade 1 trailers in PlayStation's playlist. See, the difference then, though, is that they were by themselves, right? I mean, this is remarkable. So, 2-minute trailer, 5-minute trailer, another almost a 3-minute trailer. Then they did a combat dev diary that's 7 minutes long. That one's only 41 seconds. Then another 2-minute trailer, then another 5-minute trailer. That feels like way more. And they didn't even have a company like Xbox behind them. And the thing is like, why is Aaron Greenberg talking about the marketing like 6 days ago? He starts talking about, oh, I can't wait for the global marketing to spin up. Have you ever seen them talk like that before? Like, why are you marketing your marketing? I don't think I've ever seen that before. I don't think I've ever seen a company that's like, hey man, we're really excited for our global and regional marketing of our game to kick off next week. It's like, what are you talking about? What? It's like, okay, good luck on sales. I don't even understand what it is that they're looking for. Like, what is Xbox looking for? If you throw this game onto Game Pass, and then you turn around and say, well, it didn't hit sales targets. I hate to say it, but you're the idiot in the room. Whoever is setting sales targets for games going to Game Pass, I think you just need to fire that person. They don't know what they're doing. Anybody with a Twitter account and a couple of YouTube videos could patchwork together some semblance of a business understanding that when you put a game on Game Pass, it's not going to sell that well. You would, if you can't admit to the FTC that Game Pass is cannibalizing sales and still be having sales targets for games hitting Game Pass. It's absolutely moronic. It's like, what are you doing? This is why I'm concerned for Hellblade 2. This is why I'm concerned for Ninja Theory. It's like a whole new assessment of studio and game value has just like come out of nowhere. And I think yesterday we nailed it when we said Microsoft is in the room now. I really do feel like Microsoft walked in the room and was like, no, you need sales targets for all these frickin' games. And that's why, did you see, Hellblade 2 is being considered for PlayStation 5. Of course it's being considered for PlayStation 5 because they already know when they put this game on Game Pass, it's going to hurt its sales. You know, it's like you're coming out with an Unreal 5 technical tour de force and you're just going to let people play it on a subscription instead of being like, oh my gosh, that game looks unprecedented. I better make sure and buy it. It's been on the upcoming on Game Pass for ages. Right, which is exactly what, like, I struggle to think, and this is part of what's probably happening. If you're Xbox, why are you going to do a big marketing spend on a game to hit Game Pass when Game Pass and all sub-services, they're all flatlining? Like, what's your market to profit relationship at that point? How much should we market this? It's going to be on Game Pass. It's going to shrink your market spend, I would think. It's almost like they're reassessing how much should we market a game if it's going to Game Pass, because you're not going to make money on it. You're not going to make very much money on it. Eugene says, these games and the devs behind them are the unfortunate victims of a change in the goals of Xbox and Microsoft. Prior to ABK, none of this would have been an issue or happened. ABK brought scrutiny. They're under more pressure than ever to be successful and to cut costs. I think that's quite literally it. That's quite literally it. Off topic, you weren't lying. I got Final Fantasy 16 on sale. The frame rate drops are wild inside the little town. Oh, it gets worse, bro. You go to there's other towns and sections. It's freaking terrible. I'm so frustrated they haven't patched that. Patrick Q gifts a member, and he sets up an easy 10-bomb dunker. He's pulling a Stone Spire today. 15 out of 25. We'll see if any of the big boys are sitting in the wings. Patrick, very, very nice layup there. Game Pass was never going to take off because Xbox didn't have must-play games. Well, I mean, obviously there's a relationship between the two, but I also think the challenge is that Game Pass was growing very, very strongly in the beginning, and it slowed down, along with, all of the other sub-services in the world. Hulu, Disney, Netflix, they're all slowing down. I that's the issue, is that nobody's subservice is immune to the plateau. No one's subservice is immune to the downturn. So thank you, Rygen, for ordering some coffee, man. I appreciate that. 3 bags of the dark roast. No one's immune to that downturn. So I don't even think, if they were having absolute bangers, like they said Starfield, they had the greatest new amount of Game Pass users in a day or whatever. Okay, well, it's clear that was a big title, but even if they would have had a bunch of those titles to do that to Game Pass, I still don't think it would be enough. I just think sub-services in general are plateauing because consumers are trimming down. They're also floating. They're like, well, I'll have a sub-service with this company, and then I'll cancel, and I'll go to this company, and I'll cancel. DK Bager with the gifted member, thank you so much. Even if they would have had 4 Starfields last year, I don't know if it would have mattered. You're always going to have the churn and burn. You're going to have the people that sign up for Game Pass to try out the game and then they cancel. Donnie says, people need to understand that the purchase of ABK shifted everything within Microsoft. No longer are you this little pet at the end of the quarterly reports. You're now a major piece of the business. Right. I think that was signaled by the fact that Satya Nadella has been talking more about them and been more on the forefront. I think it's because he's in the room now. And that's why when you look at a game like Hellblade II, I immediately get concerned. I'm like, this is not a moneymaker. Even if this game wasn't hitting Game Pass, Hellblade 2 is not a moneymaker. It isn't. It's a smaller title. It's a smaller studio. It does not have broad market appeal. It doesn't. It's a short game that's cinematically driven, and it's kind of dark and macabre and kind of creepy. It's got plenty of things that would keep people away from it. I'm saying this as a massive fan of Hellblade and Ninja Theory. I'm like, the game doesn't have broad market appeal. It's not a moneymaker. And if Xbox and Microsoft are analyzing property and studios with that in their mind, did you see the reasoning that they closed Tango and the other studios? Did you see the reasoning? It was because they weren't presently working on anything. They were pitching. So there was no assessment of value. There was no assessment of what could you bring to the table. It was, we've got to shut some studios down and you're not presently working on anything. How do you think that makes all the studios feel as they're working on a project? Well, I guess once we're not working on a project, we're in danger. I'm in danger, right? They literally closed the studio down because, well, you're not presently working on anything, you're pitching. That's what? That's how you chose? You might as well just pulled names out of a hat at that point. That's not a good reason. So I look at Ninja Theory, and I look at Hellblade 2, and I'm like, what are you going to do to them? They're getting ready to ship their game that I think's coming to market too fast. I don't think they've had enough time to make sure that this thing was smooth and great, and maybe they'll port it to PS5. And once that's all done, it's like, well, what's going to happen to Ninja Theory? Once they're not working on a project, it was purely a cost reduction. They're not working on anything that's going to generate revenue soon. Absolutely insane. Right, that's what I'm saying, Eugene. It's like they didn't even assess, like I've seen people say, like Jez Corden was like, it's so short-sighted. He's like, why would you get rid of a studio like this? They're good at what they do. Tango's got the chops. Arcane Austin was getting ready to work on something. It's like, why would you get rid of these studios, man? You didn't even assess their potential value. You just said, we need to save money. That sounds like desperation to me, where you're just like, listen, anybody not working on something, just get rid of them. Four studios, just boom, 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 take them out. Everybody else is working on a project, so we want to keep them. Don't you hear the reasoning there? The reasoning is basically like, well, they're going to bring something to market that we can make money on. And then what are you going to do after that? A 10 spot from the Game Night 123. Hellblade 1 sold 1 million copies by the time it launched on Xbox One in 2018, but I doubt Hellblade 2 will reach 1 million, especially with Game Pass. I don't know how Microsoft will view it. I bet you they could touch 1 million if they launch day and date on PS5, but I don't think that's happening. I don't think it's happening. Closing a studio is fake outrage, lulz. Why is it fake outrage? If a talented studio, like if you really, really like a game, don't you ever get frustrated if like a show you're really enjoying gets canceled? It's the same idea. It's like, these guys make great stuff. I wanted to make more great stuff, and now they're closed. That's not something to be like passive about. Yeah, I liked his tweet. First leak picked up the RTX 5090. That was a funny tweet. Definitive edition to PS5. And a 5 bomb comes in from Dark Taco, keeping the 5 gifted member train alive and taking us to 21. You guys have 233, and with that, you have 254 members on the week. You need 300 for the goal. You're so close. The stretch goal, we'll probably be able to hit that tomorrow. You guys are going to crush it. Yeah, bring back Mine Hunters, exactly. Ninja Theory is next, since they're about done with Hellblade 2. Dark Taco says, literally every show has been a banger this week. Thank you, Lono. We are eating, chat. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I was joking with Creature. I feel like every time we hit a really good rhythm and stride, like the content's good, the channel's doing well, everything is doing what we want to see, I always take a trip. I will be gone next week. I am sorry about that. But I'll be right back here for the monsoon, dude. Last half of May into June is gonna get red hot. There's gonna be so much going on, dude. Announcements and game releases and game reveals. I can't wait. And a 5 bomb comes in from Bruce Lee. Sheriff Bruce Lee is the agent of chaos. He blasts us past 25 to 26. 50's the next one where I pay up. I'm going to pay up right now. Thank you so much. This man says chaos. You'll love to see it. Thank you so much, Sheriff Bruce Lee. I love that your name is Sheriff Bruce Lee. Isn't that an inside joke where my wife was like, who's Bruce Lee? Isn't he the one that's the sheriff in all of the movies? Because I think she was thinking of Chuck Norris. I kind of miss the status quo before all the big publisher purchases. Phil forced Xbox into the spotlight, and now it has to behave like the rest of Microsoft's businesses. All the talent will leave, and they'll be left with an IP and no idea how to use it. Yeah, I mean, I put out a clip today from yesterday's stream where I was like, we've been saying this for a while, that studios don't flourish under Microsoft's ownership. They don't. Talent leaves. And then when the talent leaves, if that's your excuse for closing the studio, oh, for Pete's sakes, that's terrible. You're the causality. You're the reason people are leaving Microsoft. This isn't even an Xbox issue. I've tried to say that many times. It's not even an Xbox issue. It's a Microsoft issue. They close the studios and they let all the talent go as well, right? Like, so many devs are going to get scooped up by competitors and push Microsoft further behind. I mean, I'll be honest with you, even if some of those studios get scooped up or the talent gets scooped up, I don't know if it leaves Microsoft behind. They're not letting go of the big dogs. They're letting go of smaller studios. Those smaller studios will certainly make landfall, or the teams will make landfall somewhere, but I don't know if that's going to push Microsoft further behind. I mean, maybe. It's like, hey, Blinken from Robin Hood Men in Tights. Did you say Abe Lincoln? Ninja Theory will be safe until they complete the PS5 port, says John Always. I can't even figure out if I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek or seriously. Nobody knows, John. Nobody knows. Nobody knows which way's up. No one knows what are the rules, what are the standards, who gets to stay, who gets to go. It's like those TV shows where it's like, well, yeah, you're getting eliminated. You've been voted off the island, but there's no rules. It would be like being on a reality TV show like that, and they would say, yeah, sorry, Cassandra, you have to go home. And she'd be like, well, what did I do? And they're like, we don't really get into that. You're just gone. Like, well, then anybody could leave. It doesn't, who's safe? It seems like the only people that are safe are the people that are bringing something to the market and are currently working on a project. That seems to be, that's it. That's their determination right now. Which means, well, then what do you do once they ship the product? Solemn says they're getting close for a reason. They aren't enough to pull Microsoft ahead to begin with, so getting rid of them won't be enough to put them further behind. That's what I was saying, Solemn. Like, I don't want to be dismissive to the studios that got shut down, but I don't think they're big enough to, like, tilt the scales. I mean, truth be told, Xbox is so far behind that they're just converting themselves into a dadgum publisher. So there is no, oh, they fell behind. There's nothing to fall behind anymore. There's nothing to fall behind. Who are they competing with? They're trying to become a very, very successful publisher, which is why they're trimming the fat. Which is why I look at Ninja Theory and I think, oh my word, like what's going to happen to them? Like, what about Avowed? What about Avowed? What about Obsidian? I mean, anybody that's got something coming to market has to be like, well, are we in danger too? And then they have the nerve on the heels of closing the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush. Matt Booty says, we need smaller games that can win awards. I'm like, okay, are you trying to be funny and equally stupid at the same time? Like, that's quite literally what Hi-Fi Rush was. It was a small game that won an award. You haven't had an Xbox first-party game win an award. Well, I mean, Forza Horizon, I think, won some awards, right? Yeah, I think it won some awards. So outside of that, you haven't had a win in a long time, and that's a small game that won an award. Then you shut them down. And within 24 hours, you're like, yeah, we need more small games to win awards. Why? So you can close the studios afterward? Obsidian has Outer Worlds 2 too, so they can work on a Fallout game. They would be safe. Yeah, I actually think Obsidian is safe. I do. I think the fact that they have Outer Worlds 2 in the pipeline and the fact that they could help with the Fallout game, I think Microsoft's really going to want that Fallout game. And I think it wouldn't surprise me at all if you even see things get pushed and delayed or shelved so that the Fallout game can be made. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Microsoft does that. This guy says, Dark City, you need to open your eyes. What's he saying? Gifted member from Joker Quinn takes us to 27 members on the day. Thank you so much. That takes us to 240, 260. Hi-Fi just won a BAFTA for Best Animation. Yeah, they won Best for Audio Design. You know. Booty's transitioning to stand-up. That's what I'm saying. Like, what in the world? How could you even... how do you not see the cognitive dissonance to like a day later basically say we need more games like the one that we just canceled, we just closed the studio that made it? Some staff at Obsidian may be okay, can't say the studio will be. The Matt Booty quote is exceptionally tone deaf. It was like he wasn't aware that they closed Tango Games. Does he even know what Tango Games created? Right? Does he even know? It's like we need more small games that can win awards. And it's like, what? Did you know? Are you talking about Hi-Fi Rush? Zeal Panchel with a month of membership says, your next I told you moment will be when Starfield releases on the PS5. You're on a roll, man. Good to know you from you got to know me from PlayStation Salt videos, but I'm a fan now. Well, joke's on them, you know. They can keep seething and molding and clipping me. Part of the reason, I tell you, every time this happens, every time we would get something right, the heat would turn up from the hate and the salt. Okay, More free marketing for me, I guess. That's great. Keep me relevant. You know what I'm saying? Living rent free on your dadgum channels. Thank you. You called it, Lono. Apparently, there are a bunch of Helldivers 2 players who are planning to bully Sony into porting the game to Xbox. Well, that won't work. That won't work. If Tom Warren is right and they put Hellblade 2 on PS5, they will be fine. I mean, I could certainly see Hellblade 2 doing well on PlayStation. It's very PlayStation-esque as a game. It's cinematically and narratively driven. It's third person. It's melee combat. Like I think it could do very well over there. I don't know if it'll do well enough. I just don't know. It's like how good do you have to be to save a studio? How good do you have to be to have Microsoft not close you? True Witty with a $2 super chat tip. Is the success of the Fallout TV show cause of this? Wait, I'm sorry. Cause of what, True Witty? The causality of what's happening right now is what happens when you spend $70 billion to acquire a bunch of studios. The one holding the checkbook starts making the calls. Like the big man in the room holding the checkbook is the one who starts calling the shots. That's what's happening. When Sarah says they're invested in new Xbox hardware, focused on delivering the biggest technical leap ever in a generation, does that even matter at this point, or does Xbox turn it around? I don't even think she's talking about a console. She's talking about, I don't know, some kind of a PC handheld hybrid or something. I'm not sure what she's talking about, but I tell you what, she's not talking about a console. There's not enough Xbox players to bully Sony into doing anything. I mean, that's well stated, Detective Seeds. You know what I'm saying? What people rallied and did on Steam, you're not going to be able to do that with the Xbox crowd. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? I mean, if you mess with them on Twitter and Discord, all you're going to do is get in trouble for harassment if you go too far. You can make the request, but that's it. That's all you can do. The reason that it worked for Helldivers on Steam is because the review score got obliterated. And it's like, that's a threat to the future of the game's player funnel and sales on the platform where it has the most players. You got to course correct at that point. John Always with a gifted member takes us to 28 on the day. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you guys. Keep it going. If you can't gift a member, that's fine. Be here as often as you can and smash that like button. 700 people here. Let's try to get 300 likes. That'll be really early in the stream. We've only been streaming for 32 minutes. Thank you to everybody who has gifted a member or pressed subscribe today. Thank you to everybody who has watched the Hellblade upload. I appreciate it. I'm going to look at some of the comments now. If you guys are not aware, every day at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, we upload a video and we premiere it, and then it brings everybody over here, and we appreciate you guys supporting those videos so much. We've already got some comments here. We got a thumbs up from my man Jason F, just doing some thumbs up emojis. Steward17 says, be afraid, be very afraid. It's all got the hallmarks of a Microsoft screw job. It certainly does. And the great Stan Bino keeps the member train alive and bumps it to 29. Thank you so much, dude, for gifting a member. If you guys get gifted a member from somebody in chat, always remember to say thank you and consider upgrading. And if you don't upgrade, you can gift it and pay it forward to somebody else. Thank you so much. Somebody with their first name starts with the letter B. You ordered some coffee. You ordered 2 bags of dark roast. We thank you so much for that. You can take credit for that in chat if you want. Hades 2 surprise early access release already has more stuff in it than the first game. It was so fun. I was having a blast with it. Next flop is Hellblade 2. I don't think it flops. But it won't sell well. No. I don't think it flops, but it won't sell well thanks to Game Pass, right? I think that's the issue. Jaggy says, great video. Thanks. I'm just gonna respond to some of these comments. You guys are so kind to leave comments on the video. That helps it, right? Make sure you're smashing like, and anytime you're over there. And a 10 bomb comes in from Brandon Marlborough. That's the one who ordered the coffee. This guy's going huge. He's ordering coffee and he's gifting members, and it takes us to 39 just like that. I can say your name because it's actually in chat. I don't like saying your name when you order the coffee because I don't know what your username is. Some people's usernames are literally their names. Thank you, Brandon, for ordering the coffee as well as gifting some members. That's amazing. This guy's going for the hat trick of support. Momo the cow upgraded their membership to VIP. Thank you so much. There is an upgrade available if you guys want to do that weekly VIP show with us. It's fantastic. Now this guy says, Hilly Hijink says, this guy, sorry, I didn't see it was you, Hilly. Hilly says, wow, great video, but Hellblade 2 is all over Facebook. Xbox looking to the future with digital games and scalpel marketing campaigns. Hot on the heels of Starfield getting 60 FPS this month. Can't wait for another absolute Series XW. Praise body of Phil. Okay, Hilly. I thought that was going to be like a serious comment for a second. You know what I mean? I thought we were going to get a serious comment out of you. I guess we're not going to. Anyways. Wait, my real name is not Commando? I mean, if your parents named you Commando, I would want to meet them. That would be awesome. You know? It's a boy. What are you going to name him? Commando. Yo, what's good, Brooklyn Breed? Pause. Whoa. It's just some guy saying that. It's just some bloke, you know, just some bloke leaving a comment on the video. You were serious? I thought you were joking around. How is it? What's a win for the Series X? What are you talking about? Hellblade 2 is not a win for the Series X. It's another 30 FPS game. It's terrible. That's the worst news ever. That's the worst news ever. I don't want, like, my Series X is a joke at this point, dude. It's a joke. Like, what are we even talking about? Didn't Greeny tell Tom Henderson or Jez that marketing is coming? Aaron Greenberg put out a tweet on the 3rd, like, so 6 days ago. He said they were really excited to ramp up their global and their regional marketing. Listen, I did not make the focal point of my video that there wasn't marketing because I was like, they could ramp up the marketing any day now. I made mention of it. I made mention of the people's fears about it. I primarily focused on the trajectory with the trailers. Right? That's what I did. I was like, I'm not going to do this thing of like, oh, they're not marketing it, because they could start marketing it any day now. I focused on it. I talked about how Aaron Greenberg's tweet was weird, but it's like, I didn't get down into the muck and the mire of being like, oh, they're not marketing it enough. Because it's like, well, any day now they could put it in the high gear and then the video is going to look stupid. I focus more on the fact that, like, I'm worried about the game. I'm worried about the studio in light of the closures, in light of what people are saying. It doesn't sound good. Can I ask something dumb? Why focus this to a TV? What did Ninja Theory do? They tweeted a tip. View this on a big screen. Oh, another look at... Oh, they're doing like... Yeah, they said they were going to tweet something every day until the game came out. Or they were gonna put something out until the game came out. And so that's what they're doing there. They're focusing on one of the characters. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, I appreciate all the love and retweets and likes. It really helps my videos over there, too. Stop blaming the studios and start blaming Microsoft. That video is off to a really good start over there on Twitter as well. They should have started the marketing mid-April. I'm going to be the most interested if we get any more lengthy looks at gameplay, because I don't think we're going to. I think they're going to use everything they already have. Like you guys are saying, you're seeing commercials in different places and advertisements in different places. It's all of the stuff that you've already seen. I'm curious if we're going to see any more gameplay. I don't think we're going to. I think they've intentionally stripped down what we can see and they've limited what we can see. I don't think the game is going to be anything close to what we saw in the first two trailers. What are my thoughts on State of Decay 3? I don't know. We don't know anything. They put out a trailer. What was it, 2019 when they put out that trailer? I can't remember which year it was. It was either 2019 or 2020. My opinion on Lords of the Fallen. I played it. It was rough around the edges. You know, it's some of that is issues with the. I think some of it's issues with the Unreal Engine. So, I didn't spend much time with it. I thought it was super creative. I thought the art direction was really good, but they're still trying to get that thing to run well. A lot of the people in this community that love Souls games, they did not like that game. My worry with Indiana Jones is does anybody understand does anybody under, I think you had to put, under the age of 35 care about Indiana Jones? Well, I mean, the vast majority of gamers, Donnie, are over the age of 28, so I think it'll be okay. But that's the question, though. What does okay look like? If you put it on Game Pass, what's okay look like for Hellblade 2 or Indiana Jones or Avowed? That's the concern for the rest of this year, is that if Microsoft has walked in the room and they're now saying, hey, look, these games need to generate money or they're done, these studios are done, the question I have is, well, then what's the expectation? And are they going to start to decrease games hitting Game Pass? Like, they're apparently, hey, a gifted member from the Green Monster setting up a 10-bomb dunker, 40 out of 50. 40 out of 50. I have a prediction. DK Baker will bump this to 41. Every time I'm like, that's a beautiful setup for a 10-bomb dunker. DK Baker's like, no, it's not. Anyways, love you, DK Baker. If that's the change, they're discussing not even putting Call of Duty on Game Pass. How do you feel about your how do you feel about your Activision deal now? Where are all your heroes now? Where are they? Right? You guys still cheerleading for the Xbox Activision deal? They're doing the same thing we said. They're doing exactly what a lot of us said they were going to do. It's like, you can't put Call of Duty on Game Pass? Are you insane? It's like the top-selling game every year. It's the top-selling game every year. You're going to put it on Game Pass. I told you, there he is, DK Baker. The 10-bomb is now an agent of chaos. I love you, DK Baker. Like, every time this man. If they're considering not putting Call of Duty on Game Pass, you better buckle up. Yeah, is this your king? That's right. Doc Dark says he'll cancel Game Pass if they don't put Call of Duty on Game Pass. It's our job to hold him to it. I don't have to hold Doc Dark to that. He'll do it. He'll do it. I'll tell you one of the other reasons he's going to do it. I wouldn't be surprised. That's a video, isn't it? That's a video. We might be able to make some videos for when I'm gone. Game Pass is going to dramatically change. That's my prediction. There ain't no way. There ain't no way. This whole idea of, all of our first-party studios, we're going to be putting those games day and date on Game Pass. Yeah, the frick right they are. Not if Microsoft has anything to say about it. Microsoft is in the room now. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Everything's going to change. All of the things that you thought were going to happen, they have been Thanos snapped out of existence. They've crumbled right before your eyes. It's not happening. The vision that you thought was going to come to fruition, that is a dream, right? I dreamed a dream, and now that dream is gone from me. It is gone. It's gone. That's not going to happen. Microsoft is like, listen, no. The way forward is to sell games. Frickin' Game Pass is a fool's errand. They're gonna dramatically change. Yo, Skeeter V Gifts, a member. Thank you so much, taking us to 42 members on the day. You guys are crushing it, man. What a solid send-off week for me to take a little vacay. And another one comes in from Skeeter and takes us to 43. Thank you so much, Skeeter V. Among all the turmoil, Microsoft is considering a Game Pass price hike. What are they thinking? Oh, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the idea that, like, I just realized I got 2 gifted the past 2 months, got to pay it back. That's very kind, Skeeter. Thank you for doing that. Did anybody catch the reference? The dream comment that I made? Listen, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the idea that they, like, oh, what do they think they're doing? I'll tell you what they think they're doing. They're getting out of the non-profit business. Yo, Brandon with the 5 bomb comes in and bumps the line of members to 48. Unbelievable. Thank you so much, Brandon. Brandon bringing the heat today. Coffee orders and members, making it rain. It's not like, oh my gosh, what are they thinking? You should have been saying that. Thank you, Cher Bruce Lee. Yes, it was from The Matrix. You should have been saying, oh my gosh, what are they thinking, when they started giving away their biggest and best property on Game Pass. That's when everybody was like, what are they thinking? Yeah, when Morpheus' ship blew up. Yeah, Lone Wolf gifts a member. Thank you so much. It takes us to 49 right there on the doorstep. And another one comes in from Lone Wolf. He secures the 50, and there it is. The Agent of Chaos is the green monster. 51. You guys are nuts, man. This is awesome. You guys are crushing it. So many people are going to get to hang with us in the writer's room. So many people are going to get to hang with us on Friday night. Here comes the 5 members that I owe you guys. Let's just keep it going. Let's set our sights on 300 likes. We only need 50 more likes. If you haven't taken a second, I know YouTubers are always like, give me likes. Seriously, smash that like button. It helps the video. And a 20 bomb comes in from MASH and takes us to 71, but then 72, because DK Baker can't be stopped. He's always here and in the mix. And a 20 bomb and a single from DK takes us to 72. Unbelievable. I agree with everything you said, says Old Dad Gamer, but at the same time, I've been loving my years with Game Pass. I used to have to rent all my games on Tuesdays. Game Pass filled that void. I really tried to say this many times in the past. Silent Merc with 11 months says Microsoft didn't even create Xbox Live. Bungie did for Halo multiplayer back in the day. So that was Xbox actually done by themselves other than mess up. But what have they done other than mess up? Thank you so much, Silent Merc. And a single from WGC. And a single from Lone Wolf. And a single from Stone Spire for 75. I owe you 5 more just that fast. Listen, this is what I was going to say to Old Dad Gamer. I have always said that Game Pass is the best value in gaming. But I also said it was bad. It can be both. Like, you could go to a mom and pop shop and he's like, listen, for $10 a month, you can come in here and you can pick my shelves clean every month. People would be like, well, this is an amazing value for me as a consumer, but I feel like you're going to go out of business. MASH with the single is the Agent of Chaos, and Keithius comes behind and makes it 77 as we now work our way to 100 members. Unbelievable. You guys are nuts. MASH says I want to be in the train. There you go. Like, you can say both things. You can say Game Pass was an unbelievable value, but it was also the grand irony is that it's amazing value for the consumer, and yet it's so valuable to the consumer that it's value destructive. It folds back on itself. It's like you're letting people, Momo the cow with a gifted member, thank you so much. You're letting people get this idea in their head of like, well, why would you buy a game? Games are cheap. Games are easy. Games are disposable. We always called it dollar menu gaming. It was like, this is not how you treat projects that take this long and take this much money and this much effort. You shouldn't be treating your product this way. That's why Jim Ryan said, I've spoken to publishers. He's like, all the publishers I've spoken to think it's value destructive, because it is. I agree with you, says Old Dad Gamer. It's why I've made sure to enjoy these years, because it wasn't and isn't sustainable. Lone Wolf bumps the line to 79. Thank you so much, Lone Wolf. And I think that's what's frustrating about the dialogue surrounding all of this. It's like everything that's happening, these people that bought in so full to the Team Green, they're like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. It's like, no, it's not. No. This is the train that you boarded. You got on a train headed for, I don't even know. Let's say there's a real scary city and it's called Dogtown. You got on that train and then you got off and you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to San Diego. No. You boarded a train headed for hell and then you got out and don't like the temperature. You know, they're all acting surprised now. Oh, I can't believe they're thinking about raising the price of Game Pass. I can't believe they're not going to put Call of Duty on Game Pass. Can't believe they're closing studios. It's like, what do you mean? None of this is hard to believe. Like I said, you got on the train headed to hell and now you're upset about the temperature. This is where they were headed. And we all tried to tell you this is where they were headed. Yeah, shout out to Cyberpunk. Funny how Matt wants games with prestige and awards, but Phil said good games don't move the needle. I tried to say this when we watched that podcast where they sat there and they tried to dance around the fact that the brand was completely pivoting, right? You know, the brand was pivoting. All right. Oh, sorry. This is a coffee order. Thank you so much. The first letter name starts with D. You ordered 2 bags of light roast. Man, the coffee orders are coming in. Thank you guys so much. I remember watching that podcast with Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty. And do you remember? I was like, it's like they don't even know how to talk about the brand anymore. There was no clear messaging. It was this muddled Corpo speak blender. It was like, what are you guys even saying? I kept telling you, I was like, they're not saying anything. They aren't. They just keep regurgitating. It was like an NPC that gets broken. You ever seen that skit where the guy's like, well, I've got to get back to work on my garden. And he's like, can you tell me about your family? And he's like, these flowers aren't going to prune themselves. He's like, I'm asking you a direct question. Well, I got to get back to mowing my garden. Mowing my garden. You know what I'm saying? It's like they only had so many things they could say. They were like NPCs on a broken record. It was you're just saying nonsense corpo mumbo jumbo. You're not saying anything of substance. There was no clear value proposition for the brand anymore. It was like, well, yeah, these 4 games, but we're going to continue to, put things on Game Pass, and it's going to be the best place to play. How are you the best place to play? What doesn't even make any sense? Well, when you play an Xbox game, you're going to know you're playing one of the best games. What? What does that even mean? You clearly don't value good games. Your highest rated game, you close their studio down. Angry Pete with a gifted member, and he sets up a 20-bomb dunker, 80 out of 100. What a stellar day. Biggest technical leap in a generation. Right. I had people, I remember when that podcast happened about those 4 games, I had people chomping at the bit to like make fun of me because I was like, they didn't say anything. And they clearly left Starfield on the table. And they're like, yeah, keep coping, Pony. Starfield's not coming. How confident are you about anything Xbox related right now? You still gonna swagger in here and saunter in here and tell me that Starfield's not going to PS5? What about Gears? What about Halo? What's left? Like, is there anything left? That's why I look at Hellblade 2. It's my most anticipated game of the year. And I'm like, I swear. I guarantee you it's not ready. I can almost guarantee you it's not ready. It's another game coming to market before it's ready because they're like, we need something for Game Pass. They already missed a game first quarter because Stalker 2 had to delay. And they're like, no, you're up next, Hellblade. Get out. You're launching. I remember that podcast feeling like Satya was just off screen making them read whatever he wanted. Do you remember I said it was the most non-Phil Spencer had ever seemed? And even Sarah Bond was like kind of stammering and repeating herself. They seemed completely off their game. They seemed completely off their game. It was like, what in the world is going on here? Because it's not ready, that'll be the reason why Ninja Theory gets canned. You watch. Well, I think they're considering it for PS5, so there is a glimmer of hope. Let me give you guys my glimmer of hope for Hellblade 2. I didn't put it in the video because I don't think it thematically fit. It didn't thematically fit. I mean, maybe I could have put it at the end. I also left out that, like, the co-founder of Ninja Theory left. I left that out of the video. I was kind of mad at myself for that. I went back and looked, and I was like, oh, shoot, that was a significant piece that should have been put in. Anyways. Let me give you a glimmer of hope. If the analysis from Digital Foundry is even close to being accurate, and this is one of the more celebrated games this year for appearance, leveraging tech, leveraging Unreal, okay? If they're able to do that and get good critical acclaim and have successful launch, maybe they port to PS5 sooner than later somehow. That could be the glimmer of hope for Ninja Theory, that they could then be viewed as a valuable asset to the Xbox brand. But the problem is, I don't think Microsoft gives a rip about that. If they cared about keeping a valuable assets for the Xbox brand, they would have kept Tango Gameworks. They would have. They would have said, absolutely not. They brought something great to the table. It was good for the brand last year. It actually kicked off the year rather strong for Xbox at the Developer Direct. It sold well, or it's been at least reviewed well on PS5. Projections are probably good for it on the Nintendo Switch when it lands there. I don't think that's Microsoft's paradigm. I don't think they're thinking in that realm of, oh, Ninja Theory did amazing things with Unreal 5. Their game's considered a technical marvel. It's beautiful, critical acclaim, and now we got to come into PS5. They bring a lot of value to the table. I don't think Microsoft even has a measurement for that. I think Microsoft literally says, what can they generate against what they cost to keep open? And it's really, I said this yesterday, and I should have spent more time on this. I basically argued that when you have when you have a company the size of Microsoft, they'll just kill something if it's not doing well enough. The Windows Phone and the Mixer streaming platform. And I said, when you get to be that size, that's quite literally a requirement. They're just too big. Like Google with Stadia. They're just so big that they're like, just kill it. It's not worth it. Microsoft is going to view studios in the exact same way. We are too big to be concerned about making a nickel and a dime from all these teeny studios. They're going to view Ninja Theory and I don't know about Obsidian, but they're going to view Ninja Theory and Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin the way that Google viewed Stadia and the way that Microsoft viewed the Mixer platform. It's like we are so big that that's not worth our time anymore. Yo, Heavy Metal Mama, welcome back as a member plus. I mean, microcosmically, I went through this when I had a graphic design business, and I started going after larger projects and larger clients. And then I had clients that wanted me to do really small, piddly projects, and it wasn't worth it. Like a 1 hour or a 2 hour project would take away from a larger project, and then I'm only getting to bill them for 1 or 2 hours. So I started to have to say, listen, every project, I have a minimum fee even if I fall under, 5 hours or whatever. It's like I had to start doing that because it was like, you're going to hurt my production. Like, it's not worth it for me to have, we called them, there was bronze, silver, and gold customers. You had to have a hierarchy because you wanted to treat your gold customers better. They took priority. They got quicker turnaround times. They were the ones that mattered more to me providing for my family. Like, that's just how you do business. Now, you don't mistreat anybody. It's just a hierarchy of value. And so bronze level customers, I just started telling them I have to have a minimum project fee now because I'm getting too many projects. I'm getting too many customers. I can't do a 1 hour quick thing for you because that's just taking away from other things. So it was more worth my time at that point. And if they said no and they were like, oh, well, we'll just find somebody else, that was fine. It was like, well, no skin off my neck. Like, I've got other things I can work on. I've got other clients and other projects. And so that's just microcosmically. Like, I was a small business. I was a small operation. It was me. I had, at the end of it, when I looked at my invoicing, I had 214 clients and 72 of them were recurring. Like, I had built that in a matter of just like 1 year. Okay. Just through networking and going throughout the city. So even in just a one-man operation, I experienced that. Now, if you scale a one-man operation and you go all the way up, right? Skin off my nose. Sorry. No, skin off my neck. I thought it was, sorry, skin off my nose. I swear, I don't do it on purpose, Zuby. I just talk fast. So my brain just grabs a word, No skin off my knuckle, Like, I just grab a word. It's part of the brands now, Zoob. It's part of the brand. Anyway, Microsoft is what happened to me times a billion. Like, they're so large that they're like, yeah, no, it's not worth it. Like, that hit me like a 2x4 to the face this morning. I was like, they're going to view studios the way they viewed Mixer and the Windows Phone, the way that Google viewed Stadia. You're too small. You're not endemic to our revenue. You don't generate enough money. It's actually not even a loss for us to shut you down. Khaled with 30 months and a member plus. It's absolutely clear that Microsoft only deals with strict KPIs, target, and not games potential and impact over industry and customers. It's no skin off my back. There's lots of different versions of it, right? What did I say? Did I say skin off my teeth or neck? What did I say? It'll be no skin off my nose is an idiom that means it doesn't matter what someone else does or thinks. It's no skin off my nose if you take my advice. No, yeah, it's skin off someone's nose. Yep. You used to say that if you don't care if somebody has a strong opinion on something. It's no skin off my back is another origin that's gruesome that comes from the concept of a whipping boy. So yeah, there's different versions of it. I don't even remember. I don't even know what I said. I said neck. It's no skin off my neck. Yeah, I just made something up. It's opportunity cost, says Eugene. The money spent to make another Doom may be seen as better spent elsewhere, despite Doom being a profitable franchise. If you have skin on your teeth, we need to talk. I mean, if you're eating chicken or something, you might have some skin on your teeth. Oh, that's gross. Yeah, by the skin of your teeth is a near miss. That's right. Yeah. He made it in by the skin of his teeth. That's completely different saying. Yeah. Animal Well is getting really good reviews. What game is that? I don't even remember that game. Yeah, so the way I see it and the way I look at it is my concern is that no studio is safe. No game is safe because Microsoft's not looking at games the same way that we do. They don't even look at games the way Nintendo and PlayStation looks at them. My man Gritter with 36 months. That's 3 years. Hey, it's 36 months, 3 years. Another day of work and lurk. As always, glad to be here. Thank you so much, Gritter. Do I know the podcast lore? I do not know the podcast lore, Broken Lobo. Oh, that's Donkey's game? Donkey made a game? Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Call of Duty, Warcraft, Diablo, and Overwatch are the only safe franchises, in my opinion. So is Starfield. I don't know if Starfield's safe. I mean, I don't know. This guy says, in my opinion, the first game was garbage. I was like, that's fine. I loved it. I really, really loved it. You know? To me, it is still, I think, one of the most complete, video games as art games that are available. It's safe if they bring Starfield online. I mean, I could see that playing a role, like expanding the Starfield game beyond just what it is currently. Like that could help protect it. You know what I mean? Hilly says 743 watching and 221 likes. It's actually 296 likes. We're right on the doorstep of 300 likes. So let's get there. You might just need to refresh, Hilly. Likes don't display properly. I implore you to listen with your wife. I'll leave it there, but as the name suggests, it explores the origins of folklore with a horror slant. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so the chat AI summary says, people are discussing the meaning of the phrase skin of my teeth. Some people say it's by a narrow margin, while others say it means without any damage. The phrase is also used in the title of a Megadeth song. All right, we're getting wrongly summarized by the chat bot, so let's bring things back. I need you guys to start using phrases like Xbox first party games and Hellblade 2 gameplay, will it be good? And, is Ninja Theory next? Is Ninja Theory in trouble? Oh my golly. Then buy all the IP just to have 4 or 5 studios. Well, this is what's interesting, right? They admitted that they bought ZeniMax because they wanted Starfield. And so I wonder if buying Activision Blizzard just completely changed the paradigm of how they make their choices. Like, I feel like when they bought Ninja Theory and even when they bought ZeniMax, it was almost like ZeniMax was like a protective thing. It was like, we're slipping in the industry farther than before, and if we get left out of Starfield, that's going to be even worse. I think they knew the power of a long-awaited Bethesda game. I think they knew, and so I think it was like reactionary. It was like, okay, well, we'll buy Ninja Theory. I think they tried to buy Moon Studios with Ori, and I think Moon Studios basically said no. And now I think, though, when they bought ABK, I think there was a completely different motivation there. Like when Phil Spencer says, this isn't our strategy, it's an accelerant to our strategy, I think he let the cat out of the bag at that point. He was basically saying that our strategy has shifted, our strategy has changed. Because it was no longer like, oh, we're going to buy this studio because the property is good, or we're going to buy this studio because the game is good and there's a lot of talent here. I think that idea left the building when it said, well, we're going to drop $70 billion on Activision Blizzard King. If you listen to the way they talk about Activision Blizzard King, it's all there. You can hear it. You can hear it in the way they talk about, like, mobile was one of the primary reasons they bought it. Why? Because of how much money mobile makes. The driving force to get Activision Blizzard was not even remotely in the same hemisphere of reasoning as when they got, Ninja Theory. ABK was a sellout move. Microsoft doesn't value living human beings so long as they can move something that reportedly has a high valuation to maintain its valuations to the shareholders, whether so long as share price goes up. I mean, if we want to get into like moral high ground language and like cast a judgment on Microsoft, I'm not going to defend them and act like they're good or they're, you know, they're worthy of defense. But when you get to be that big, that's just how those engines operate. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally just how companies of this size operate, whether it's Google, Amazon, or Microsoft. They're too large and they answer too much to the shareholders to not be that ruthless. The expectation and I got so tired of saying this, it has been a long time since I've said it. The fiduciary duty is like, they're not in a position to be like, no, that's fine. We'll make less money this year. That's quite literally not an option. I'm not defending what they do. It's just when you get to that Leviathan-like size, this is literally that's how the machine functions. That is how the machine functions. And this is why all of 2023, I used my platform to try to tell people you do not want Microsoft to have more power in gaming. You don't want them to do this. Remember when I said, they're like, you're just saying this because you're a pony. I never once thought of, oh, I'm saying this because of some weird internet made up word that describes somebody who's super loyal to Sony. I always said I would be saying the exact same thing if Amazon were trying to do this or if Google were trying to do this. I would have immense concern about the property and the studios and what happens to them in the aftermath, because Amazon and Google would have done the same dadgum thing. They would have immediately cut studios and immediately canceled things and shut things down to lower production cost to get closer to whatever projections they need for ROI. Like that, they all would have done the exact same thing. Why? That's what they do at that size. They're too big to do anything else. It's a machine. It's just a giant corporate entity that just gobbles things up. That's how they function. So that's why I was like, I don't want anybody doing this. This won't be good. This won't be good for the consumer. That's why we're looking at Hellblade II. It's the first game from Xbox first-party studios in 2024. And it's like, well, if it's part of this giant entity now, you almost need to stop thinking of Xbox as Xbox, and you need to think of it as Microsoft Gaming, even if they might rename to that. Thank you for the $2 Super Chat tip, True Witty. Microsoft's going to have a hard time acquiring any other. And then James with 22 months in a VIP. Hope you have a great week off. Thank you so much, James. Every dollar is scrutinized, and if a dollar spent was going to bring in $1.50, and they think spending it elsewhere will bring in $1.51, that dollar is going there, and the other thing is shut down. Console wars be damned. Consolidation is bad. Mergers and acquisitions are a reality of big business, but Microsoft needs to fall back. We don't trust them. I mean, that might be one of the good things that's come out of this, is that people are finally looking at the real villain in the room, and they're realizing that it's Microsoft. You can't even think of Xbox as Xbox anymore. It's not Xbox. Xbox is nothing now. Xbox is a name. It's a it's a storefront. It's a billboard. It's a sign. Microsoft's in the room. They're in charge. It's their company now. It always has been, but in a more real and direct way. It's Microsoft Gaming, and Microsoft Gaming as a machine will look at a studio like Ninja Theory, will look at a game like Hellblade 2, and it will calculate whether or not it deserves to live. And what would it be? Dispassionate? Is that the right word to use? It's an emotionless process. There's no passion in it. It's just cold numbers. Yeah, give it a Borg designation at this point. Right, it's like the Borg. You will be assimilated. Rob says, thank you for the gifted membership. Hang on. I'm making some notes. Okay. Just tucking things away. They've established 70 billion acquisitions are okay, and the board of directors would gladly take the money. You think Microsoft can recover from this foolishness? Well, I mean, obviously there's a real possibility, there's a real possibility that this becomes financially untenable for them, but I think Microsoft is big enough to weather it. Microsoft is large enough to weather this storm, but what they'll end up doing is everything that we were fearful of. Everything we were fearful of, they will strip down to the studs and say, these are the pillar studios or pieces of property. Nothing else matters. You will lose so many studios and so many projects and games in the process. Because I think people actually thought that Microsoft was just going to basically lose money for the next 20 years and then it would slowly tilt in their favor with cloud. I, for one, thought that was what they were planning on doing. I think they're being far more aggressive now and saying, listen, we can lose money knowing what's on the other side of this strategy, but we don't need all this dead weight along the way. We can expedite this process by, as Zubair says, Xbox will get very lean. After Hellblade 2, what's next? Avowed? I think so, yeah. I think Avowed is next. I think you're supposed to be getting 3 games this year. I don't know no, I'm sorry. You're going to get 4 games because Stalker is coming. They've set their release date. So you're getting Hellblade 2, Avowed, Stalker 2, and Indiana Jones. I have personally said that I think Indiana Jones gets delayed into next year. Stalker 2 to me is also a question mark. They've had some issues. They were in Ukraine, so they had some serious problems. They had to move, and I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that one coming to market either. The only one I know you're for sure getting after Hellblade 2 is Avowed. I think that will in fact ship this year. The other two for me, Stalker 2 and Indiana Jones, those feel like question marks to me. Jack K says, what foolishness. They're focusing on their bigger IP. They will be fine. Whatever we are complaining about, we will all come back like sheeps and buy COD, Diablo, Fallout, or Elder Scrolls. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all. We will all come back like sheep and buy Diablo and COD and everything else. No, I don't think so. I think people are waking up to what's going on, and I honestly don't think people will just automatically come pouring back. I don't think they will. I mean it. I think the average person is going to sense the quality shift. You can't make good games in this environment. You can't. I don't think you get good games in this environment. You're going to end up with like, look at what's happening. Like Forza Motorsport came to the market, it wasn't even ready. They willingly shipped Redfall. That's the kind of crap you're going to be getting from something that operates under these conditions. We can't swim under these conditions, ABR. Like, we can't swim. Consumers are reaching a breaking point. Yeah, like consumer trust is in the toilet. Studio trust is probably in the dadgum toilet. What kind of games do you think you're going to get out of this? The first person for indie kills me. I have no interest. Yeah. Haven't bought a COD game in like 8 years. Yeah, a lot of people drifted from Call of Duty. Now you will obviously be able to always sell a ton of Call of Duty, but all the other games, I don't know, dude. I think it's safe to say Starfield was not as commercially successful as they wanted it to be. No way. The marketing spend on that? No way. And that's why I'm more confident than I have ever been that Starfield's going to PlayStation 5. Because look at the strategy. When a piece of property is like seen to not make enough money, what do? You think it's a coincidence that Hi-Fi Rush went to PS5, got rated for Nintendo, and then they closed down the studio? It was like, they're like, well, you didn't make enough money. You're not currently working on anything. Well, that's a really easy decision. Shut the studio down. Projections for, for Starfield and what they hope to get out of it are probably well below. And it's like, you better get that thing ready to sell on PS5. We want to get more money out of this. Are you freaking kidding me? There's no other reason you would dedicate that level of time and effort to Starfield. You just move on to the Elder Scrolls. You would just move on to the Elder Scrolls. You'd be like, leave that thing dead in the water. The only reason to dedicate that amount of bandwidth and improvement in work is because they're getting ready to sell it. They want people to buy Starfield. I don't think you're right about that, Lono. I genuinely think COD will lose their market lead in a few years. I don't think they'll lose their market lead. I think they'll always have slowdowns, turndowns, and then potential resurgences, but I don't know who's going to unseat COD. Nobody can stay on the throne forever, okay? Nobody. But I don't know if anybody's going to be able to make a game to unseat Call of Duty. The problem is it's been around for such a long time that there's always people that are going to cycle back through. For the number of people that cycle out, you potentially have people that cycle back through because we've all played Call of Duty at some point in our life. I think that's why it's so hard to unseat it. It's always got people saying, well, I'll come back and check this one out. I haven't played a Call of Duty in a while. I'll check this one out. And then there's the people that rotate out. Like, it's just so big. I don't know if anybody could unseat it. It could certainly slow down and not sell and not top the charts all the time. I don't know how fast that could happen. I also, again, don't know if anybody could take its place. Said the same thing about Halo. I don't know if anybody ever said that about Halo. I don't know if anybody ever said that Halo was that big, because Halo never was that big. Call of Duty is a multi-platform, monolithic title. Eugene says, I buy a COD game like every 5 to 6 years. Right, like people rotate back in. It happens. Call of Duty right now is Nicki Minaj. They might as well put Tay-Tay in there, dude. I'm definitely buying this year's COD. Yeah, a bunch of people will buy it this year because of returning to Black Ops. A bunch of people will. And a bunch of people won't. They'll say, I don't like Black Ops. You know? The point that we're making, though, is that I don't think Call of Duty is enough to make this a worthwhile venture for Xbox. I think they're waking up to the reality that we have to make back a lot of money, and we're going to need more than just COD. Like, they're going to need to have a heavier push from King into mobile. I think they're going to shut down more studios. Like, Jason Schreier's article at Bloomberg made it clear. People at Xbox are like, no, yeah, there's more cuts coming. That's quite literally on the heels of everybody looking at Hellblade 2, its release date, and looking at Ninja Theory and saying, are you guys next? Are you guys next on the chopping block? If you're not currently working on something, it seems like you're pretty exposed to the Microsoft guillotine. I don't know what will truly dethrone it, but I think it hasn't been harder to be in that position than now of all the competition. Oh, for sure, it's harder to maintain the position. I agree with you, Scott. Harder than it has in the past because you have other games. You have you have Fortnite, you have Apex, you have PUBG, right? You have other games that are soaking up their own portion of the player pool. But Warzone and Call of Duty Mobile are just nuts. Don't just look at the annual sales of Call of Duty. You have to look at how much money Call of Duty Mobile and Warzone, how much they generate. If you look at the annual sales of the tentpole title, you might come to a very bad conclusion to think that, like, well, Call of Duty's in trouble. No, it's no. The amount of revenue that IP generates is absurd. I actually went back and played Prototype 2 by Activision. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some gameplay of that. I didn't get a chance to play that one. That would be a good one to bring back and do a sequel to or something. It looked pretty cool. I hope Fable's going well because Playground's my favorite studio. Yeah, I'm not confident in anything that comes out of Microsoft at this point. I'm not. We learned just yesterday that Perfect Dark is in rough shape. And whenever we covered everything last year, I tried to draw people's attention to the fact that Perfect Dark had lost a bunch of people and was rebooted. And I was like, that smells like trouble. And then we heard similar things about the team. I believe we heard similar things about the Fable team, that they lost people, that they lost a director, a creative director or something. I'm not confident in Fable at all. You know, it happened with Halo Infinite. There's, you know, it's like where are the games isn't even the question anymore. It's going to be like, where's the quality? Like, what are y'all doing? The games that come to market, I think, are going to be, I just think they're going to be in such bad shape. I really do. We heard early rumors that the team with Fable was having difficulty with the engine. Yeah. Why is Xbox struggling to make games? It's crazy. Well, I mean, like I said, I pushed out a video this morning on Twitter, and this is one of my main concerns with Hellblade 2. So let's relate it to the main topic. So the Hellblade 2 release date is right around the corner. And all of the Hellblade 2 gameplay trailers that we have seen, I believe have followed a trajectory of that I'm concerned, okay? I believe that when they switched from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5, I think that was a mistake. I think it has limited what they can do with the game to the point that I don't think we're going to see anything like that beach cave scene. I don't think so. I believe they've had to strip down the game significantly. I also feel that the game is coming to market way too early. Based on everything they've said, based on the production timeline, I feel we're getting another Forza Motorsport. Like, Forza Motorsport clearly came to market before it was ready. They had features missing, tracks missing. They couldn't do certain things. And so I was like, yeah, I remember when they said all that with Forza Motorsport, I was like, yeah, they're going to launch it anyway because that's the way that Xbox works. That's the way that Microsoft works. So when I looked at Hellblade 2, I thought the same thing. I was like, you guys are bringing this to market before it's ready. I can frickin' tell. It's why you don't have lengthy, uncut, raw gameplay to show us. The game is 12 days away. Where's my uncut gameplay? Where is it? The closer you get to a game's launch, you typically get really, really nice showcases of gameplay. We don't have that. We've progressively gotten less and less and less. Announcement trailer was showing off Unreal 4. Next trailer showed off Unreal 4. They were on the beach. They go in the cave. It's 6 minutes long, no cuts. And then something changes. The very next trailer is called the Hellblade 2 Senua trailer. She crawls through a tunnel, stands in a room, and talks to somebody. I liked it because I like Hellblade, but it was not a good showcase of the game. You didn't get to really see anything. Then you get Hellblade 2 gameplay combined with, like, I don't know, like a month later, you got the Hellblade 2 previews. And it's stripped down, one-on-one fighting. They're like, it's hard to see. They're highly edited. Like, it doesn't feel like we're getting a good look at the game. It's almost like they're trying to hide stuff from us. All signs point to the fact, and I said this, I remember last year in 2023, there were people that were like, oh, I heard Hellblade 2 is coming this year. I'm like, there's no freaking way it's coming this year. They were not even in full production in the middle of 2021. And you think 2 years later you're getting the dadgum game? That sounds stupid to me. So what, 3 years of full production is enough time? And you switched engines? I don't believe it. I don't. Everything we know about development, everything we've ever heard from every single studio, it's like, it stands to reason. It actually stands against all reason to think that this game is ready to go. I've been concerned for a while. And then we also hear that it's going to be 30 FPS. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Like that's gonna be the brand. That's Xbox. That's gonna be their new theme. Is that games come to market before they're ready, and then they don't sell well and they don't do well. Combined with the fact that you throw them on frickin' Game Pass, and then you're gonna shutter the studio. Hellblade 2 doesn't have a physical release. Yeah, I think when you don't have a physical release, I don't think you quote-unquote go gold. I don't think so. Sadly, Hellblade 2 is most likely going to be a mess at launch with Microsoft at the helm using Unreal 5. Thanks for the gifted membership, says Roadkill. Awesome community. Oh, I appreciate that, Roadkill. The clips that Digital Foundry got were suspicious in the fact that they really couldn't evaluate the content in Hellblade. Yeah. The whole game's letterbox. Yeah, that too. Black bars on the top and bottom. I just... It is my most anticipated game this year, dude. It still is my most anticipated game this year. I'm going to be very upset if the game isn't ready and does poorly. If it doesn't review well, I will place all blame on Xbox and Microsoft. I will. It'll be their fault. I believe they're pushing a studio. Yeah, when Phil said he wants teams to own their date, I think that was a load of bollocks. It was like, yeah, right. Did you let the Forza Motorsport team own their date? The new Lord of the Rings film is titled The Hunt for Gollum. Andy Serkis will return as Gollum and also direct the film. So it's going to be probably the in-between time, right? Which will be weird because the way the movies did it, they didn't do that properly. It like Frodo has the ring for like 50 years or something like that, doesn't he? It's a pretty lengthy amount of time. Gandalf's gone for a long time. While he is gone, he's tracking Gollum, but so are other people. And then they end up getting him and they end up torturing him. And that's how they end up with the Dark Riders of the Shire. So like that's probably what they're going to focus on. I don't think that's going to be that great of a story. I mean, I don't think that's that interesting. And that's not going to line up with the movies because in the movies, Gandalf's gone for like a week or something. Or it's not 50 years. I don't know how long he's actually gone, but he's not gone for very long. Yo, Gavin Hillick gifts a member and takes us to 81 members on the day. Thank you so much. If you guys are just tuning in, thank you so much for being here. If you've never been here before, the name of the channel is Reforge Gaming. I am a Monday through Friday. I upload a monologue with my thoughts that I live stream to discuss with you. So be sure to go support the upload if you want to watch it later. Leave a comment, leave a like. That helps me out. You can support directly with a membership. You get behind-the-scenes content where we plan the shows. You get streams where I hang out with my wife and play some games. We do have a weekly goal right now that I believe you guys have hit. Yeah, you had 233 plus the 81. So you have passed the goal. You guys are currently at 314. So now you're like 86 away from the stretch goal. So the goal was 300 members. I now have to play a VR game on Friday night. It's like a Just Dance style game, but in VR to embarrass myself. For you members, if you hit the stretch goal, if you get like 86 more members, then I have to play Elden Ring instead, and I have to fight Moog, which is a fight I do not want to fight. I feel for you, Lono. I absolutely love the first Hellblade, but with Microsoft's track record, I'm not holding out much faith. Yeah, you just need 400 from Moog, and we're at 314. You guys have pretty much got that in the bag. That's nothing. That's like lightweight work for this community. Yeah, and if I'm going to fight Moog tomorrow, that means the VIPs will get to enjoy me prepping. So tomorrow afternoon, I'll prep with the VIPs. Also, a word to new viewers and longtime viewers, I will be out of town next week. Streams will resume on the 20th, just in time for Hellblade. Yay! Hellblade 2 will be the following day, obviously. Are the fanny pack and headband making an appearance? Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see. It honestly sounds like we're going to end up fighting Moog anyway. I mean, 86 members is that's handled usually very quickly, especially if any of the big boys are around. They'll drop a couple 20 bombs and we'll be there in the blink of an eye. Moog's too easy. We'll see. Oh, and if you guys haven't hit the like button yet, do me a favor and do that. We only need about 50 more. Let's hit 400 likes. There's been a lot of people here. We actually got a lot of new subs today. Lately, when I've been covering some of the negative Microsoft news, we get sort of an inflated view count because a lot of people on that side don't like me. Well, listen, I'm going to continue to say this. A lot of people attacked me last year and got really nasty, and some of them are still being nasty and still attacking me. They're just going to stay on block, okay? If you want me to live rent-free on your timelines and your channels, that's your choice. That's what you do with your life. That's your choice. To everybody else, I'm always about saying, hey, come back and be a part of what we're doing here. I don't like to hold grudges. I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's good. You know, if people want to admit that they're wrong, if people want to, like, put the sword down and be like, all right, maybe this guy was right about some stuff. And I didn't particularly handle 2023 with as much class as I would have liked. It was like I was like a cornered animal. I felt like every week somebody was attacking me and clipping me and calling me something terrible. And so, you know, you lash out when you feel cornered. I've been working on that. I've been trying to better myself and just trying to, you know, take a more stoic attitude about it. It's difficult, all right? So if you want to come back around and subscribe and become a member, if you want to come back and be a part of what we do here, I welcome that. I do. I know a lot of people are probably feeling like, where the frick am I supposed to go now as the green side slowly crumbles? I feel bad for the PC player, says Russell Stewart, that will be tempted to play 60 FPS rather than the cinematic experience that consoles have at 30. That's good. That's good, Russell. I like that. I like that. Everyone say a prayer for our PC brethren that won't be able to experience Hellblade at the cinematic beauty of 30 FPS. That's good comedy right there. I mean, I guess they could always cap it at 30, you know. I guess they could always cap it at 30, you know, if they really want to experience how beautiful it truly is. Unfortunately, turn the other cheek isn't easy. Listen, if people want to take the path of peace, I'm always about reconciliation, but I don't think people can do that. I think some of these people have created a brand and a persona and a platform that's just unkind, and I don't think they can break from it. They have an audience that craves it now, but to everybody else, you know, just do what I did. Go where the games are. It's great. It's the water's really warm when you just are like, I'm just going to go where the games are, whether it's Nintendo or PC or PlayStation. I don't care. You getting that new PC? You'll be able to swing 60 on your current rig. We're going to find out. We're going to find out because I'm not going to upgrade my rig for one game. We've been talking about upgrading my gaming rig. You know, it's a 2080 Ti rig. It's done me well. As long as games are well optimized, I get the experience that I like. I get about a 1440-60. Do you admit when you're wrong? There's plenty of times I've admitted when I was wrong. There are videos on this channel where I'm like, yep, I got that one wrong. You know, I have videos about that. I have no problem doing that. When you build your platform on truth, accuracy, and integrity, your audience won't reject you when you're wrong because they know that you'll admit to it. I have an entire video about how, like, I was wrong about Kill the Justice League. I got that one wrong. You know, I thought they were going to pull it off. I thought they had something, and they didn't. You know? Xbox is reportedly considering bringing Senua Saga to PS5. Yeah, I mean, I put that in the video, and I kind of said I thought that was going to happen anyway. It was like, why wouldn't you at this point? There's no reason to leave anything on Xbox. You can't create a business reason, especially now that Microsoft's in the room. Suicide Squad and Foam Stars both admitted how you were wrong. Yeah. I continued to say with Foam Stars, I was like, I think it has a chance. I think it could explode in the Asian market. Nope. Wasn't right about that one. I was wrong. You know? Now, those were not business breakdown or logical breakdowns of situations. Those were like predictions about a game's quality. That's more subjective. It's easier to be wrong in that realm, isn't it? Like, when we broke down this acquisition, when we broke down what Microsoft would do, when we broke down what this would lead to, that's not like a matter of like opinion. It was so pedestrian. It was so blatantly obvious. That's why it was so frustrating that people like turned a blind eye to it. Foamstar's got new content today. I've continued to say that game had a chance. We don't know the numbers. We don't know what it's pulling in the Asian market. I'm telling you, like, nobody when they first saw Splatoon thought that it would be the game that it is today. I thought that was a fair assessment to be like, I don't know, Foamstars could explode. I'm not going to play that game for very long, but it could explode. You were wrong about Suicide Squad on purpose just so you could be wrong about something? No. I don't do that. I don't intentionally make wrong predictions so that I can, have a track record of saying I was wrong. I don't do that. The only thing Lono's wrong with is fashion choices. That's not true. Grub says people are arguing about whether or not Hi-Fi Rush is a small game or not. I know a good one to measure what Xbox thought of it. How much did they charge for the game? $30. So Xbox wants games smaller than that are award-winning hits. I guess it's cool to want a lotto ticket. Get him, Grub. Lono can never be wrong with those Red Soul Reeboks. Man, shut the frick up. They sent those to me. You know it'll have a 60 mode when it hits PS5? Well, I think the Starfield announcement about 60 FPS actually hurts Ninja Theory. Right? I think it hurts Ninja Theory. It's like, hey, you can't come out here and say it's a creative decision. That's what Bethesda said, and now they're putting it. Now they're giving people 60. What's your shirt today? It looks cool. It's from Into the AM. It's like a skull being pulled apart with, like, I don't know what that is, bubble gum or paint or something. I don't. Lono was wrong about the Doom Marauder. I am not wrong about the Doom Marauder. Frick that Doom Marauder. Oh, you bought it on My Take, Mile High? I enjoyed the initial playthrough. There just wasn't any endgame. It was fine. Had a good time. I had a good time with it. I put like 26 hours into it with my wife. I did. I got 26 hours out of Kill the Justice League. We had fun with it. That was it. That was the end. Once I rolled credits, I was like, yeah, they didn't do a good job handing you off into the end game like at all. You know? Lono was wrong about Baldur's Gate 3 too. What did I say about that was wrong? I didn't really even do any content about it. I'm pretty sure anytime I talked about that game, I said it'll win Game of the Year. Because people are like, no, Zelda will win. I'm like, no, it won't. I was like, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win. And then we talked about Split Screen. And I said it was the Series S. And I was told it wasn't the Series S. And then we found out that it was the Series S. Because it's always the Series S. It's always the Series S. What do you mean before it came out? I didn't talk about that or cover it. You were very dismissive before it launched? I was not. I didn't even know what the game was. How would I know if the game's going to be good or not? I'd never even played it. How could I be dismissive of a game I knew very little about? That doesn't even sound like me. Why would I be dismissive about that game? When people in chat asked you about it, you dismissed it? Yeah, but did I dismiss it because I wasn't interested, as I still am not interested in playing it? Like, is that what I did? I'm dismissive of a lot of games that end up selling like crazy and do very well. That doesn't mean that I thought the game was going to be bad. I think sometimes you guys misremember or you misinterpret. If I'm dismissive of a game, sometimes it's because it's like, I don't have any interest in that. I think we only covered it because it was like, well, this is going to win Game of the Year. I may have been dismissive as like, are you going to play it? And I was like, no, I don't play those kind of games. I just don't. They could, like, I was dismissive of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake. Well, no, Rebirth, because I tried Remake. I was like, I'm not going to play that. And that's one of the front runners for Game of the Year. Because it's like, I'm not going to play it. Yeah, there goes Vithar, like Rebirth. Yeah, like Rebirth. It's like, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, once it came out, I was like, oh, that's Game of the Year. There's no question. The reviews, the critical acclaim, the consumer acclaim, I was like, yeah, that's Game of the Year. There's no doubt. And I remember people saying, no, there's no way it's going to be Zelda. I was like, there's no way Zelda wins 2 times in a row. Lono distinctly said Baldur's Gate 3 wasn't his type of game. I may be misremembering, but I believe it was early Game of the Year discussions. You were like, nah, that game is turn-based? Yeah, I would have said that in the context of saying I'm not interested in it because it's turn-based. I don't think I would say, no, it's not going to be good or won't win awards because it's turn-based. I don't think I would have said that because Final Fantasy VII Remake got a ton of nominations and awards, and it was no, it wasn't turn-based. I'm sorry. Historically speaking, turn-based games still get awards and still do well. I don't think I would have said that. What's my game of the year so far? My personal favorite game so far would be Stellar Blade. I'm not able to finish it right now because I've been really busy in the evenings, but I just went through. I did something where it was like, oh, you're not going to be able to come back for a while. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I did a bunch of stuff. And I'm hoping, I don't know if I really want to beat it before I go out of town. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, though. I've just been really busy in the evenings with the kids. Once the weather gets nice, my evenings get gobbled up because we end up taking a walk and then we come back and then the kids want to play a card game or something. So, and then by the time I get downstairs, it's like, well, now I'm trying to spend time with Madam. So we've been playing Gunfire Reborn instead of me playing a game by myself. PlayStation Store's top downloads in the US was Helldivers 2. Stellar Blade was number 2. Yeah, looks like the Stellar Blade boycott, the free Stellar Blade campaign really worked, didn't it? I wish I could remember what stream it was. I believe it was an off-topic question about Baldur's Gate 3 when you were talking about games in contention for Game of the Year. I may have not checked it out, Lone Wolf. I may have been like, really? A turn-based RPG? I don't know about that. I may not have actually taken a look at it or seen any responses to it yet. He said Baldur's Gate 3 had a strong chance to win Game of the Year, even though turn-based games aren't his cup of tea. There may have been a time, I do this, right? I talk a mile a minute, and if I'm like, a train on a certain topic, and someone's like, Lono, what do you think about this? I'll be like, yeah, I don't know about that. I've been clipped because of this, right? There's like a 30-minute video calling me a hypocrite because somebody said something about PvP and Gears, and I was like, they haven't confirmed it yet. And everybody interpreted that as, look at this idiot thinking there won't be PvP and Gears. It was just a very quick response. It's like, of course there'll probably be PvP and Gears, but they haven't confirmed it. Like, what if it's completely different? What if they've completely reinvented it? Like, we don't know what their plans are. What if they bring back Horde mode? What if that's the focus because of the success of Helldivers? You know what I'm saying? It's like, that was why I just sort of quickly said that. So sometimes I think people take like a quick, non-thought out remark because I speak very extemporaneously and they're like, look at this absolute moron. It's like, well, yeah, you took a 10-second clip and you didn't ask me to qualify anything. So there may have been a time where I was like, yeah, I don't know about Baldur's Gate 3 because I hadn't really looked into it yet, or I hadn't really examined what the consumer or what the critical feedback was. Once that game made landfall, I was like, that's the game of the year. Because I remember people ardently disagree with me. They're like, no, dude, it's Zelda. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, there ain't no way. I was like, Baldur's Gate 3 is affecting the industry. It's winning. I remember it happened before we knew it was going to be as big as it ended up being. Yeah, maybe it wasn't out yet or something. Maybe it wasn't out. It might not have been out. Maybe I was just like, I don't know, a turn-based game like Baldur's Gate 3. It's kind of an old game, isn't it? Like, I might have been like, oh, I don't know. I hadn't played it, and it hadn't released yet, so it's possible. I'm on my third playthrough on Stellar Blade. The ending takes a while. That's where you are. I am at the area where I did all this stuff on almost like, they were like train tracks, like roller coaster tracks, and now we've left. We did everything, and I got in the ship, and we left. So that's where I am in the game. I don't know how close I am to the end. Yeah. Yeah, it happened with Souls games, exactly. Like, I'll make an offhanded remark, and it's just like very generic or very lighthearted. Like, yeah, if you're like me and you had never played a Souls games before, I don't think you should just dive into one. I think a great way to get into them is to start with Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. And if you like them, do what I did, turn up the difficulty. If you're still having a good time, I think you should try Sekiro next. Like, that's just my advice. I tell people that they should play Ori and the Blind Forest and then Hollow Knight and then Ori and the Will of the Wisps. To me, it's like a beautiful little trilogy, an unintended trilogy, because Ori and the Will of the Wisps borrows a lot from Hollow Knight. And so I think it's such a great pairing. It's such a great pairing to go from Blind Forest to Hollow Knight to Will of the Wisps. But if you strongly disagree with that recommendation, I don't know why you would. It's just a recommendation. It's just, I'm not saying something's objectively true. I'm just saying I think this would be a great way to enjoy these games. I don't know. I think that's pretty lighthearted. You know? William Lewis with the $2 trip. Did you see my super chat? It wasn't live, so I wasn't sure. Hang on. I think I missed somebody. Hang on. It won't let me stop clicking on chat. There we go. Somebody did something recently, and I think I skipped over it. Oh, Gollum, the game is becoming a movie, JK. Thank you, William Lewis, for the $2 tip. I didn't see that. I am sorry. Yeah, Animal Well's reviewing really well, yeah. It's just a Metroid game, is it? You've convinced me to pick up Stellar Blade, Lono. I have no previous interest before. I think it's just fun. It's just fun. It's a really, really satisfying game, you know? The combat's satisfying. The story is fine. I don't think the story is particularly its strong suit, but that's okay, you know. No, you're fine, Lone Wolf. I was genuinely confused. I was like, man, I got a bunch of crap and a bunch of criticism, Lone Wolf, because I would always talk about how Baldur's Gate 3 was going to win Game of the Year, and I got constantly ridiculed and called a fraud because I hadn't played it. And I was like, I don't have to play it to tell that it's going to win. Like, and surprise, surprise, like so many other things that I was called wrong and a fraud and any other name in the dictionary for, I was right. It won Game of the Year. Gee, like, it's like watching a professional bowler and you're like, that's probably going to be a strike. Yeah, but you don't bowl, so how could you know? It's like, I've been watching this professional bowler for a while. I know when he throws a strike. It's easy to see. It's unbelievable. You don't know. You don't know, pony. It's like, all right. Okay. You're awfully passionate and emotional about this. I don't see what the problem is. Oh, Patrick Hughes says, somebody asked you about it and you said, I don't think anything special going on with that game. And it was indeed before the game was out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hadn't seen or heard anything. I was like, it looks like another Baldur's Gate, right? I hadn't touched it. I hadn't played it. And then it came out and I was like, well, holy frick. Like, that was that's the thing though. And for many people, that's a gotcha, right? That's a gotcha. They're like, oh yeah, we got him. This guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about, right? But that's just like an offhand remark. That's not like a researched video where I went and like read articles and read reviews and watched gameplay. It was, I don't know. I don't think anything special is going on there. It was like because I hadn't really looked into it. Like, you have to allow people, and I don't think you can if you're obsessing over, I hate this person and every misstep they make, I want to document it, right? That's psychopathic, but I think that's the world we live in now, is that people will develop like a weird obsession and they'll rail and hate against somebody to the point they're like, ha, see what he said? Do you see what he said? I got a 30-second clip of him saying this thing. And it's just like, I'm just going to always do that. I'm just going to kind of speak off the cuff when I'm in the live environment. Anybody that tells you they saw Baldur's Gate 3 coming in the way that it did is more than likely lying to you. Right, that's well stated. Like, I don't think anybody thought Baldur's Gate 3 was going to take over the entire world the way that it did. It was a surprise. It was like when I looked at Helldivers 2 and made a video and said that it'll be good, I didn't say that it was going to be the biggest game of the year. I was just like, it'll be good. I don't think anybody thought that about Helldivers 2 either. You know what I mean? F you, Lono. I have a video for Ori newcomers that's dying, and I need to promote it. Your take is crap, and I'm going to make a video about it. By the way, I'm putting Kirk in the thumbnail, even though he's not in it. That's good, Eugene. That's good. Oh. The people who were playing early access were talking like it was the second coming, so there was some evidence. Well, sure, and I think sometimes it's hard to trust that source, though, Patrick. It's like, well, yeah, you're kind of biased at that point, right? You, like, love the game, you're in early access, you're like, this is going to be the greatest game ever. It's like, okay. Maybe, we've heard that sort of, overpraising before. We've heard people that come back from capture events or, get early looks at a game, talk about it in a way where you're like, yeah, sure, let me see when it comes out, Yeah, I think Baldur's Gate 3 surprised most folks. I don't think the people playing it maybe knew, like, oh my gosh, there's something really special here. But I think everybody else was like, it's the third Baldur's Gate game. Like, how good could it possibly be? And then it came out and everyone said, oh, wow, that good. Oh, my. Like, this is revolutionary in the realm of RPG freedom. I didn't know how massive it was going to be, says Lone Wolf, but I knew it was going to be very high quality. Having played Divinity Sin 1 and 2, I knew whatever Larian was going to put out, net would be quality. Right. I think my wife and I tried to play Divinity Sin 2, I think it was 2. We were kind of hungry for a Diablo-style game, and it just was too complex for our casual play style. It just didn't, we couldn't vibe with it. There was another game that we tried, I think it was called Darksiders, what the frick is it called? Anyways, that one was almost in the other direction. It was way too casual button mashy. It's like we couldn't find anything in the middle. And then, Diablo 4 came out and was boring as snot. I just couldn't play it. I was like level 26, and my wife and I were playing one night, and I was literally just like slouched. And I was like, I'm not enjoying this. I was like, I'm done. I just like put the controller down. She's like, really? I was like, yeah, I can't do this. It's boring. Guys, in about 11 minutes, we're going to head to the writer's room. So take this time to, let's do one final push here on the like count. We need 30 more likes to hit 400. Take a second and do that. If you've been lurking and listening, take a second and do that. And make sure it saves your like. YouTube's been kind of funky lately. That does help this video, especially once I'm no longer live. People will find it and they'll listen to the discussion and they'll enjoy the content. You've got a little bit more time to hit the next milestone of 100. I'll gift another 5 members. And you guys are currently crushing the weekly goal. You have achieved the weekly goal. You are currently sitting at 314 members on the week. So the stretch goal of 400, because you guys want to make me fight Moog and Elden Ring, that is well within your grasp. I'm in the forest right now in Final Fantasy 16. Good Lord. They aren't going to patch these frame drop areas at all. I don't know what their plan is. My hope would be that as they try to bring the game to PC, they experiment with upgrading the FSR, and maybe that inadvertently kicks a patch to Final Fantasy 16. Yeah, we didn't like Darksiders 2. It just, I don't know. It just felt like I don't know. It just felt too casual. It didn't feel... It was like Divinity Sin 2 was too complex, and then Darksiders 2 was too casual. It's like we wanted something right in the middle. I always felt like Diablo 3 was kind of right in the middle, and in Diablo 4 was just boring. You need a Work and Lurk sticker? We have a Work and Lurk emote. Yeah, we do. I tried to come back and play more Diablo 4. I just couldn't. I'm 100% done with Diablo 4. Yeah. It needs FSR 3 like yesterday. Yeah, I mean, there are people that have theorized, like, they're going to let the PlayStation 5 Pro fix it. And I'm like, but I don't think that's the problem, is like, well, it needs the Pro. No, it needs the FSR updated. From everything I've heard, from every commentator on it, I'm like, it needs to upgrade the FSR. So that way they can give you dynamic resolution. Like, the fact that they give you dynamic resolution in the fights and it maintains 60 when all that craziness is going on, I don't know. To me, it's... I think, rather remarkable that they don't just give you that in the full game. Like, where's the harm? You know what I mean? To me, it ends up looking terrible. Oh my gosh, that's like the sweetest picture ever. Friends of ours had a baby. Oh my. Yeah, was that the game we played? Darksiders Genesis? Is that what we played? I can't remember what we played. PSSR might really help the game. I mean, it could. It could, Dark Taco. It could, but here's the problem. If you're feeding the PSSR, if you're feeding it dynamic resolution, lock 60 in combat, and then you come out of combat and the frame rate is all over the place, I'm not confident that the PSSR can just clean that up. It's an inconsistent frame rate. It is all over the place. Like, I don't know if you can just be like, yeah, just use the upsampling technology in the PS5 Pro. It'll clean all that up. It'll clean up an inconsistent frame rate? As far as I understand it, they can use the upsampler to basically leverage more frames by lowering the internal resolution, using that to upscale the res and turn on things like ray tracing and everything else, and still maintain 60. That's my understanding of how that technology works. I don't think that technology is going to be able to be like, oh, hey, you turn off dynamic res and the frame rates in the 40s and the 50s and the 40s and the 50s. I don't think it's designed to, like, fix that. Darksiders 2 is Zelda with loot. Maybe we played the wrong one. I think they're saying FSR 3 because it would generate frames. I don't know the ins and the outs of FSR 3. All I know is there's a whole lot more going on in those fights with character animations and particle effects and lighting. The fact that they can give me 60 frames per second in the combat, but not when I'm exploring the world, is a dadgum joke. It's a joke. It's like, what are you doing? It's quite literally a decision that doesn't need to be made. Just leave dynamic resolution on when I'm not in combat. It isn't a difficult thing to do. Now, maybe I'm oversimplifying it. Maybe it would cause problems and bugs and it wouldn't run all that smoothly, but you give me rock solid 60 in combat, and the combat's wild, and I slowly walk through a town, and you can't... What? It's dumb. It doesn't need FSR update. It needs to prioritize frames more. It's a really, really backwards creative decision, is what it is. They really want to keep that res up when you're in town or when you're walking around. And what it ends up doing is it ends up just absolutely murdering the frames. So it ends up looking ugly. It ends up looking blurry. All right, I'm going to schedule the writer's room. We're going to go to writer's room in five minutes. So basically what you guys are going to have to do tomorrow is you're going to need like 86 members. You could put a dent in that right now. I'll gift another 5. You guys have a little bit of time if you want to scramble for the final 19. We need 19 more on the day to hit 100, and you'll make it even easier on yourselves tomorrow. we no longer try to move the overall member count because it goes up and down every day and it wasn't fair to you guys. You'd be really close to hitting a goal and then we would lose some members overnight because, you know, hey, 30 days ago you guys were really generous and now you're, you know, paying the price. So now we just do a weekly total and then you end up getting a really fun incentive and like a reward on Friday night, like making me play a dance game on VR or fighting Moog in Elden Ring. And if you're not familiar with what the Writers Room is our daily behind-the-scenes stream for all members, gifted and above. You get to come to this stream and kind of hear us spec out the next day. Dark Taco believes it can be done. He's like, guys, 19's not bad. I'll make it 18 more. Oops, that's not right. I'll make it 18 more. He gifts one and bumps the line to 82. A little single train would do it. I mean, that's easy work. You guys have done that before. I think the current record on a single train is like 40 something. All the crazy explosion effects in combat. That's what I'm saying. Like when you're exploring the world too, I'll just say it. A lot of those areas are so drab and so plain. It's like this isn't even graphically demanding. Like what in the heck? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm going to take one last look at the comments on the Hellblade video. If you guys, this is a great way to be featured in the live content. Anytime you guys leave comments on one of my videos, I like to circle back around and respond to some of your comments. Let's take a look at some of the comments here. And this guy says, "Do the X flop." Ouch. That's not nice. That's mean. We all know it's a short game. Just hoping it's a good game or rinse or repeat. I hope it's good. I hope it doesn't get the studio closed, right? Like, hope it doesn't get the studio closed. Ninja Theory made a big mistake moving from Sony. Agreed. I mean, that would be a silver lining. I think they're better suited for Sony ownership. Personally, I think they align better with the PlayStation audience and the PlayStation brand. This guy says, No Frills Gaming says, beautiful experience for sure. Really shows the game as an art form, the ultimate, in my opinion. I just recently played through the first. Cannot wait for the second. Love the video. No clue how I hadn't found your channel yet. Great stuff. Thank you. That's very kind. That's very kind. I really, really had fun making that video. I hope you guys enjoyed the Hellblade video. Spent a lot of time writing that. Broken Lobo says, great video. Thank you. This is the last hurrah for Xbox. Nothing else is on the horizon. No Perfect Dark, Fable, State of Decay anytime soon. I don't agree with that. Avowed and Indiana Jones and Stalker 2. Those are all pretty big. Those are all pretty big games. I don't agree with that. I think they actually have a good lineup this year. This guy says here, Oscar says, the game will score around 93 and the game will not make profits, typically because Game Pass, it'll also be nominated for Game of the Year just for the story and experience alone. I hope it gets enough prestige to save the studio from Microsoft. Like, I hope it gets enough prestige, you know, to save the studio from Microsoft. And then Brooklyn Breed says, Ninja Theory will probably be closed after the PlayStation port. I said, I fear this. I really do. I really fear that being the reality. You know? I really do. All right. Let's get 8 more likes on the video and let's get out of here. Dark Taco tried to poke. He tried to poke the member count unsuccessfully. Let me set up redirect. Make sure it's working. Okay, redirect is set up. And then let me give you guys a link to the writer's room. No buzzer beater today. You guys missed it. No, it's fine. I'm just hoping no one does it. I always get to writer's room and then I get to interrupt my introduction. I'm like, hey, thanks so much for being a member. You may have gotten a membership and someone just gifted members in the previous stream. All right, here we go. I'm going to put a link in the Discord. All right. And I'm also going to put a link in the chat. Now, redirect sometimes doesn't work. So there's a members-only playlist on the channel. So if you don't get redirected or you don't use the link in chat to come to the writer's room, there is a members-only playlist on the front page of the channel, and that's where this video will show up, okay? It sometimes doesn't show up, like, on your home page or on your sub-feed. So the VR dance game sounds more fun than fighting Moog. Another one from Dark Taco. Yeah, I mean, maybe we are working against the fun factor here. I tell you what. Even if you guys hit the stretch goal for Moog, I'll still give you the VR dance game. I'll give you both. I think that's fair. You hit both goals, you'll get both incentives. We won't supplant one for the other. You'll get both. We'll figure it out. Thank you so much, Dark Taco. All right, I'm going to start the member stream. Hang on, I need to refresh. It's not showing up properly. The back end it doesn't like that we do this. It's like error, duplicate stream key, and sometimes it like won't let me go live. Okay, there we go. Thanks so much for being a member, and you may have paid for your own membership. We've had some new members doing that. Thank you so much for doing that. You may have gotten gifted a membership. If you've been regularly getting a gifted membership, be sure to say thank you to the people that are doing that, but also consider picking up your own membership. You can upgrade to Member Plus. It's $1 more, and then you're out of that gifted member pool. That's as good as gifting a member. It really is, because you're making room for other people, so thank you for that. A word about streams. I'll be out of town next week. Streams will resume on May the 20th, just in time for Hellblade 2. Be sure to check out my Hellblade 2 is in trouble upload. Give it love, give it likes, give it comments. We appreciate you guys supporting those premieres and uploads every morning. Is a massive help to the channel. It puts more people in the live streams, which I'm going to end the live stream and bring people over with the redirect, and then I'm going to change that thumbnail to no longer say live. And you guys are really close to the